Failure. A word we whisper, a moment we dread, a feeling that can make the strongest among us shrink. Because failure doesn't just challenge what we do, it challenges who we believe we are. You try something new, and it flops. You take a leap, and you fall. You speak up, and no one listens. It hurts. It feels like a punch to the chest, like all your effort meant nothing. You start to wonder, am I really cut out for this? Was it a mistake to even try? But here's what I need you to understand. Deep in your bones, failure is not the end. Not of your journey, not of your growth, and definitely not of your story. It's easy to believe success comes to those who get everything right. But that's a myth. The truth? Success comes to those who keep moving, especially after they get it wrong. This video is your reminder that no matter what went wrong, no matter how far you've fallen, you still get to rise. And when you do, you rise smarter, stronger, and more unstoppable than ever. Let's begin. The truth about failure. Failure gets a bad reputation. We see it as a verdict, a label, a red stamp of rejection, but that's not what it is. Failure is not a definition. It's a direction. When a plane goes off course, it doesn't crash in shame. It adjusts. When a scientist runs a failed experiment, they don't give up. They take notes. So why do we treat our own setbacks like proof of worthlessness? Because we internalize the outcome. We make it personal. We attach identity to performance. I failed becomes I am a failure. That single sentence, that quiet subconscious conclusion, holds more people back than any obstacle ever could. But here's the truth. You are not your last mistake. You are not your worst moment. You are not the version of you that didn't yet know what you know now. Failure is simply what happens when growth outruns certainty. It means you're exploring new territory. It means you're stretching. It means you had the courage to try, and that alone puts you ahead of 99% of people who play it safe. And if you stay in motion, that failure becomes fuel. Real stories. How failure built success. Let's take a step out of theory and into the real world, because the most powerful proof that failure isn't fatal is in the lives of those who kept going. Take Steven Spielberg. Rejected 3 times from film school. Now, his movies have shaped generations. J.K. Rowling, unemployed, depressed, rejected by a dozen publishers. Now, her imagination built a billion-dollar world. Newspaper Walt Disney, fired by a newspaper editor who said he lacked creativity. He went bankrupt trying to start his first animation company. Now, he's a symbol of childhood wonder around the globe. And it doesn't stop there. Michael Jordan didn't make his varsity team in high school. He cried in his room that night. But the next morning, he practiced harder, longer, with fire in his gut. He didn't quit. And today, his name is synonymous with greatness. These people didn't win because they avoided failure. They won because they didn't let failure define them. Their stories weren't shaped by how many times they fell. They were shaped by what they did after. Now think about your own life. Think about the job you didn't get, the relationship that broke you, the idea that didn't work out. Now ask yourself, did I stay down? Or did I eventually rise? If you're here, watching this, you're still standing. You're still fighting. And that means your next chapter is still unwritten. Make it count. Failure builds resilience, not regret. We've been conditioned to believe that failure leads to regret. But more often, the real regret comes from the failure to try. Ask anyone at the end of their life what they regret most. It's not the things that didn't work. It's the things they never had the courage to attempt. The risk not taken. The words not spoken. The version of themselves they never stepped into. Failure, when embraced, builds something that success alone never could. Resilience. Resilience isn't being unbreakable. It's being willing to break and come back stronger. When you fail and you rise again, something happens deep inside you. You prove to yourself that you can survive the fall. You rewire your mindset. You start trusting your ability to recover more than your need to be perfect. That's where confidence comes from. Not from getting everything right, but from knowing you'll keep going even when everything goes wrong. Imagine this. Two people climb a mountain. One takes the easy trail, the other slips, scrapes their knees, nearly turns back, but makes it anyway. Who do you think is stronger? It's not about how smooth your path is. It's about how you handle the rough parts. And failure? That's the rough part that teaches you the most. How to reframe and recover from failure. So what happens when you fail? How do you actually recover? Not just externally, but internally. Let's walk through it. Step 1. Acknowledge the pain. You're human. You invested something, time, energy, heart. It's okay to feel disappointed. Don't rush to positive vibes only. Let it sting. Let it breathe. Step 2. Separate identity from outcome. Say it out loud. I failed at something. That doesn't make me a failure. Say it again until it sticks. Step 3. Extract the lesson. Ask, what did this reveal about my habits, assumptions, or preparation? What can I do differently next time? What did go right that I can build on? Don't just move past failure, mine it for gold. Step 4. Rebuild with micro steps. After a fall, don't chase huge wins. Set the smallest goal possible. 1 sentence written, 1 push-up, $1 saved, 1 tough conversation initiated. Momentum is your medicine. Step 5. Track progress and reframe the narrative. Create a failure file, a place where you write what went wrong and what you learned. Over time, that file becomes proof of your growth. Proof that you are evolving, even when the results haven't fully caught up. And remember, you don't need to bounce back overnight. You just need to take the next right step, today. Now is not the time to quit. If you're watching this, you may be in the middle of a dark season. You may feel like nothing is working, like your energy is drained, like the door keeps slamming shut, no matter how many times you knock. And maybe you're thinking, what's the point? But let me remind you, this is not your finish line. This is your fork in the road. Quitting now would be like walking out of a movie halfway through. You haven't seen the twist. You haven't reached the redemption. You haven't arrived at the version of you that only emerges through the storm. You're not stuck. You're in process. You're being prepared. Your delay isn't denial, it's development. Every great story has a low point, a rock bottom, a moment where the hero almost gives up. And then they rise. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. So don't quit today. Rest if you must. Pause if you need to. But when you're ready, get back in the fight. You've come too far to turn back now. When you feel like giving up, there will be days where it all feels too heavy, where you stare at the ceiling wondering if it's even worth it, where the smallest task feels impossible, where hope seems like a distant memory. That's okay. You're allowed to feel that. But just because it feels true doesn't mean it is. When you feel like giving up, do this. Zoom out. Look at the big picture. This is one moment, not your whole life. Talk to someone. Shame grows in silence. Voice it to someone who sees you clearly. Move your body. A walk. A stretch. A few deep breaths. Let your body interrupt your spiral. Revisit your why. Remember why you started. Remember who you're doing it for. Anchor to one action. Just one. That's how we start climbing again. On the other side of this moment is proof. Proof that you're stronger than the lie that says you can't. Proof that you still have what it takes, even if all you can give is a whisper of effort. And someday soon, you'll look back at this valley and say, I almost gave up, but I didn't. And thank God I didn't. Start again, stronger. If this message found you in a moment of pain, of doubt, of questioning, Don't just let it be inspiration. Leave a comment. What's one thing you're going to try again? A dream? A relationship? A habit? A belief in yourself? Name it. Share it. Own it. Let this be the moment you start it again. Then hit subscribe. Because this space isn't about empty hype. It's about real reminders that your setbacks are setups, that you're not alone, and that your failure, it's not the end. You are becoming. You are rebuilding. You are still in the game. So breathe in, shake off the shame, and take that first step again. Not perfectly, but powerfully. This is your comeback, and it starts now.